I'm surprised at how warm it is right now. I took this just in case when it gets dark, if it gets cold, because it always gets colder when it's darker. We're gonna see how that goes. I didn't make it to the guided tour, guys. I wasn't able to go down inside the Hoover Dam, but I literally found out the Hoover Dam was by Las Vegas less than 36 hours ago, so with as much effort as I could have taken between then and now, I tried. But tomorrow, yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to come back. I mean, I feel like this, in the least, talks to the point that I wanted to mention, which is like, if anything that I've learned over the last 3-4 weeks now, it's teaching me how to not hang on to bad experiences. And usually when bad things happen, right, like you dwell on it for at least a little bit, even if it's not like regret, it's like some sort of grief almost, of like things could have been better, right? And depending on how bad it is, like it lasts for a little bit longer time. But like for the sake of like keep on keeping and like go on going, like keep going, like that's the only thing that I can take away. And I wasn't even expecting to learn it in the way that I am. There's kind of 3 things that are important about the Hoover Dam, about like after I realized it was here, why I wanted to come here so much. The first one that I'll mention is probably like the least important in the sense of Transformers. Like there's other movies that the Hoover Dam kind of like was represented in, even like the last Fast 10 movie, it was there. But it's like, that's recent. Like Transformers like high school days, so like I got a lot more experience, and like it's a deeper connection for me with Transformers and everything. Second thing, it's kind of split into 2 parts, which is why I said 3 things. But like Hoover as a president, I don't really know that much about. Like I barely know a little bit about what defined his presidency, and just like anyone being president, what really sticks is the impact that you make with people and not anything that you do by yourself. Although a few, like one of the exceptions to that statement is Nixon, who had like the Watergate scandal, which is like all about him. But I'm saying anything that's like relevant to society, positively impacting society. I feel like even like George Washington, I don't really know what George Washington did as a president, but I knew what his role as the first president was and what he was able to do with his committee of people that supported him. So there's that part of it. And then the second part of that other point is when I was in college, I went and visited Sikorsky, which is a helicopter aviation company that is based out of Connecticut, I believe. And there's also Brookhaven National Laboratory, which I was in Long Island, but I visited during college days, undergrad. And there's a history that I remember learning from back then that relates to like why I feel like there's still hope for America. And there's just a significance that this dam, or just the Hoover Dam specifically, right, has as like a central theme for innovation in America. And I mean, I don't know if this is true, I literally just heard it a few minutes ago, but apparently the Hoover Dam is still the highest generating dam in the world. I wouldn't be surprised if that is, because you don't hear about dams anymore. I mean, everything newer, they kind of switched to alternative energies, right? Solar, wind specifically, and like nuclear was a big thing that came right after. I think hydropower was kind of invented as a energy generator source. It's definitely cool. I didn't know the Hoover Dam was on the border of Arizona and Nevada, so it's like split halfway in between. It's not even full right now, which is I'm kind of sad, and like I don't know. I didn't get to go down, so it didn't really matter either way, but like obviously the amount of energy it can produce is relative to how much water is on the higher side of the dam. So I'm not kind of surprised, but like there weren't as many nice people to talk to, just like friendly, that can like open a conversation. I've been my general theme for like how I talk to people is like I try to look them in their eye, depending on how their eye contact is with me and their general body demeanor. As a result of that, I can know whether me saying hi or hello or like striking up a conversation is even possible, because if people are standoffish essentially, then no matter what you say to them, it's like you can't really have a conversation. So I don't know, it's been interesting. There was a group of international students, don't ask me what age, but they were international because all of them were speaking a foreign language, and I mean, what else could they be if not international? But they were walking across in the dam. They probably got the last tour. Let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to say from before, and then I'll see. Okay, there were a few things, but we'll see if I'm able to actually say the things that I want to say. I'm in Las Vegas now. Hoover Dam's like 45 minutes away, southeast. I had a lot of interesting experiences the first night that I got to Las Vegas. Without mentioning specifics, there's a revelation that I made through my experiences that I think is important for people to know about as they're going on in life, whether that's spiritually or in any other fashion, right? So generally speaking, right, whether you're going with a scientific approach of like, are we in a simulation, or you're going with a Hindu, Buddhist, or Eastern philosophy, psychology framework, and you think that like in Hindu, like this whole thing is a Maya, right? It's an illusion, and the truth is hidden from us. Like, we know it before we get born, but when you're born into this state, you forget everything from before, right? So if you accept that perspective on life, then what I realized is that the things that people do to get sense pleasure, like drugs, alcohol, whatever else, I'm sure there's a lot of other things that go into that category, but like things that intoxicate you, right? When people do those things, what they're doing is going further into the Maya, and I'm almost considering it a sort of Inception type of thing. So like in Inception, the movie, you go into a dream state, and then within, like, they went 3 levels down, right? And time moves much more slowly at that point, and just reality doesn't work the same way, right? And the reality of like the way that we understand the world, right? And I think from this most recent experience that I had, what I realized is that like sometimes you have to go farther in to get out, and I feel like this experience was me going farther in to get out. So the whole situation's a lot more complicated than I can explain in this short period of time, but essentially, I'm not saying that I'm stopping like everything, because like there's a social component to like being able to understand other people through performing certain things, like whatever, taking a drink and stuff. But I definitely have done enough, and I feel like when people do enough and they say like they got a lifetime of drugs or alcohol or whatever it is, they get to this point, but they don't actually say it, and they don't really describe it in a way that like other people can understand. So by doing something, an intoxicating behavior, enough, you can understand its full effect almost, and then use that experience to grow from it, right? So one thing that I don't like about certain spiritual teachings and certain spiritual people in the world that like try to say this is the thing that you're supposed to do and like just trust me on it, is that some experience can't be replaced. And replaced isn't the word, but like skipped, almost. Skipped is probably a better word. Some people don't need that experience, other people do need that experience, right? And if you don't need it, you're not skipping it. It's just that the way that you kind of exists in the world is different from someone else, right? And in that way, the things that you need to learn, the things you need to experience are just different, right? So it's not about everyone needing this experience to grow from it. But if you're on a certain path in life and you are at all interested in a specific thing, sometimes to fully understand that thing, there's experience that can't be skipped, right? One of the things that happens with intoxicating drugs and alcohol in general is that you lose memory in some regards, or it's harder to remember things, it's harder to think in general, right? It impairs you. And what happens is that we're already in that state by being in this Maya. So by doing stuff to further exasperate that feeling, you're going further in, right? And that's the whole point. So there's a specific set of words that I want to use to describe it that I'll definitely make a short after this, but I want to at least get the thought out just in case I forget it. Irony in that statement, but yeah, so it's been interesting. I got 2 more days until my break in Florida. I'm calling it a break, but like it's it's just like it's like a checkpoint almost, right? And I've hit a few milestones before this checkpoint, and I'm very much looking to just like reset a little bit. And as much momentum and as much continuity that I have so far, it's like I understand something needs to change, and I need this to kind of facilitate that change, right? I'm always changing. I mean, I feel the change. I don't know if I'm actually changing from other people's perspective, but it's been quite a ride, guys. And I mean, distance, we're only a quarter way through. Time, I don't know how long we're through, but it's gonna be interesting how I continue after I come back, and I know that there's so much still to look forward to, and I'm still over the trip. I'm still like, all the things I said before is still accurate, but my appreciation for the experience is completely changing, and what that means for how I can be a better me for the world, for the universe at that matter. I think it's really cool. So I'm looking forward to it, and keep watching, guys, because shit's about to go down real soon. Ikumiya signing off. Hoover Dam.